Something's wrong. He's not resurfacing after the interaction in the main tank. Is she visible? Is she breathing? No, she's still underwater. There's blood. He's not letting go. Please send help now. The frantic shouts ripped through the air raw with terror. This wasn't just a tragic mistake. It was a warning ignored for years. If the story shakes you, it should, because it's not the first time. And if nothing changes, it won't be the last. Welcome to Animal Reckoning, where we uncover the stories they try to forget. It was supposed to be just another show at SeaWorld Orlando. A choreographed dance between woman and beast. A performance perfected through years of training, trust, and repetition. But what happened next would leave hundreds of witnesses frozen in disbelief and would mark the last day of trainer Don Brancheau's life. In front of a full arena in broad daylight, something snapped. This isn't just a tragic story. It's a wake-up call. If you believe animals deserve freedom and the truth deserves a voice, hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and share it to keep the conversation going. Dawn Brancheau was more than just a marine mammal trainer. From the time she was a child, she had been captivated by the ocean. While most kids collected seashells, Dawn was memorizing the names of every species of whale and dolphin. She could mimic their calls by the age of 10. And by 16, she was volunteering at her local aquarium, cleaning tanks, taking notes, asking questions no one else thought to ask. By 24, she had earned a biology degree with honors, specializing in marine behavior. But it wasn't the academic accolades that set her apart. It was her ability to connect with the animals, to read them, feel them. Colleagues often said she had an unspoken language with the orcas, the big black and white predators of the sea that others treated with caution. They seemed to lean in toward Dawn, trust her, respond to her in ways that baffled even veteran trainers. She was recruited by SeaWorld's flagship marine park within a year of graduation. It was a dream come true, or so it seemed. Dawn rose quickly through the ranks, becoming one of the park's most trusted orca handlers. Visitors would remember her by name. Trainers in training looked to her for guidance. She wasn't just a performer in the pool. She was a protector, a voice, a quiet advocate behind the scenes for better treatment and more enrichment for the whales in her care. Dawn believed in coexistence, that humans and these massive predators could share a bond built on respect, not dominance. She often said, "They don't work for us. We work together." But in the world of marine entertainment, not everything is as it appears on the stage. Behind the smiles, behind the perfect jumps and synchronized waves, there are complex creatures, intelligent, emotional, sometimes unpredictable, and Dawn knew that better than most. But on that day, even she couldn't have known what was coming. SeaWorld Orlando stood as a monument to human fascination with the sea. Built along the coast and stretching over 60 acres of carefully engineered enclosures, theaters, and artificial lagoons, it attracted millions of visitors each year. The park's crown jewel was the Shermush Show, a high-energy, emotionally charged performance featuring some of the largest predators ever held in captivity. Behind the towering glass barriers and crashing waves, these killer whales performed with breathtaking precision. They leapt, spun, and splashed on cue, creating awe in the eyes of children and wonder in the hearts of adults. But behind the applause was a long and complicated history, one filled with beauty, but also with shadows. SeaWorld's Orca program began over 3 decades ago, during an era when capturing wild orcas was still legal in some parts of the world. Early shows were simple displays of power and obedience. Over time, the choreography grew more elaborate. Trainers entered the water with the animals. They surfed on dorsal fins. They kissed the whales on the nose. What the public didn't see was the immense psychological and physical pressure placed on both humans and animals to maintain this illusion of harmony. Among the orcas at SeaWorld, one stood out, a massive 12,000 pounds bull named Tychum. Captured off the coast of Iceland as a calf, Tychum had spent over 2 decades in captivity. At 22 feet long, he was a commanding presence, muscular, broad-finned, with deep scarring on his flanks from dominance battles with other males. Trainers described him as intelligent, moody, and unpredictable. Tychum had been involved in several close calls over the years, moments when he failed to respond to commands, showed signs of agitation, or displayed territorial behavior towards staff in the pool. Notably, Tychum had been linked to 2 prior deaths, a trainer in 1991 at Sealand of the Pacific and a trespasser in 1999 at SeaWorld Orlando. Despite these incidents, he was kept in rotation performing stunts for packed crowds. These incidents were recorded, noted, filed away in incident reports that rarely made it outside the park's internal logs. Experts in marine mammal behavior had long warned that orcas, especially males in captivity, could develop behavioral abnormalities. These animals are used to roaming up to 100 miles a day in the wild, traveling with tight-knit family pods, forming complex social bonds. In a concrete tank isolated from natural stimuli and often kept in artificial pods, frustration builds. Dr. Elaine Satterfield, a renowned marine biologist and former consultant to SeaWorld, once stated, "When you remove an animal like an orca from its natural environment, you're not just putting it in a tank. You're putting its mind in a box, and sometimes it breaks." Despite the warnings, Tychum remained a star. He drew crowds. He performed. And most importantly, he trusted Dawn. Or at least he had. But in the weeks leading up to that day, something had shifted. Tychum had started floating listlessly at the surface. He was less responsive to trainers. He began jaw-popping more frequently, a known sign of agitation or dominance in orcas. The signs were subtle, but they were there. And on the morning of the attack, the surface of the water was calm. Deceptively calm. No one knew that beneath it, something was boiling. February 24, 2010. It was a bright, humid afternoon at SeaWorld Orlando. The air buzzed with anticipation as visitors poured into the amphitheater for the park's Dine with Shamu show. Backstage, Dawn Brancheau prepared like she always did, running through her pre-show checklist, checking in with the handlers, watching Tychum through the glass as he circled the performance tank slowly, deliberately. At 2 p.m., Dawn entered the poolside platform, her wetsuit zipped, hair tied back, headset in place. The stadium filled with cheers as Tychum breached the water in a perfect arc, soaking the front row. It looked like any other performance. Smooth, rehearsed, routine. But subtle things were off. Tychum hesitated on 2 cues. He delayed a slide onto the platform. His tail slaps were more aggressive, creating deeper reverberations across the pool surface. Trainers noted it. Dawn saw it. Still, she continued guiding him with practiced movements, reward signals, and calm body language. The bond between them forged over a decade was what made her confident. Maybe too confident. The routine reached a familiar sequence, a close contact maneuver where Dawn stood on a submerged platform face-to-face with Tychum. She extended her arm, a signal for a side swim. According to a witness, sitting in Section B, she was signaling the orca when suddenly it just changed. The whale dipped under the surface, then came back up, but not in the right spot. It was wrong. Without warning, Tychum lunged. His jaws closed around Dawn's arm, yanking her into the water with terrifying force. Gasps erupted from the crowd. Some thought it was part of the show. Others knew instantly it wasn't. Under the water, a violent struggle began. Trainers on the edge of the pool scrambled to deploy emergency signals. Underwater tone generators designed to interrupt and redirect the whale's focus. Tychum ignored them. He held Dawn beneath the surface, thrashing, turning, diving. Seconds turned into a minute. A minute turned into 2. Rescue protocols were initiated. Staff raced to close the pool's emergency gates to isolate Tychum. Others threw nets and floating barriers into the water, trying to corner him. Still, he evaded them, surfacing only briefly before diving again with Dawn still in his grasp. One trainer attempted to lure Tychum away with fish and vocal commands from the medical pool. He didn't respond. Witnesses described the horrifying scene. The whale approached the glass side of the 35 feet deep tank at Shamu Stadium, jumped up, and grabbed the trainer by the waist, shaking her so violently that her shoe came off. Dawn's screams were swallowed by the churning water. Her body was tossed like a rag doll. Every attempt to break free from Tychum's grip was met with more resistance. She fought with everything she had, but Tychum was stronger. Every pull underwater brought darkness closer. Finally, at 2:41 p.m., Tychum released her. Staff pulled Dawn's body from the water. She was unresponsive. Paramedics attempted CPR poolside as stunned visitors were ushered from the stands. Children cried. Parents stared speechless. She was officially pronounced dead at 2:41 p.m. In less than 7 minutes, a celebrated career, a devoted life, and a relationship built over 10 years came to a violent, irreversible end. What caused Tychum to snap? Was it stress? Was it